There's nothing I love more than taking a trip down memory lane to revisit games from my childhood. All of the games I'll be talking about came out during the mid to late 2000s, a time period during which the iPhone was released, YouTube made its debut, and gaming entered the HD era. While many critically acclaimed video games were released during this time, the ones that I will be talking about are terrible. They could best be described as a video game form of kitsch. By all objective standards, these games have no redeeming value. Despite that, these games conjure up warm feelings within me because I grew up with the franchises on which these games are based on. They represent my childhood, a time of innocence and warmth. The first game I'll be discussing is Transformers Animated for the Nintendo DS. The game is a tie-in product for the Transformers Animated television series released in 2007. In this game, the player has to solve puzzles in order to get to the end of a stage. To solve the puzzles, you have to use the abilities of the three Transformers you have control of: Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, and Bulkhead. Bumblebee is able to jump from wall to wall and can interact with electronic devices. Side note, all of the Transformers should be able to interact with electronic devices because they're robots, but for some reason in this game they can't. Optimus Prime can jump onto red bridges to access areas the other Autobots can't. Bulkhead is able to break walls and carry heavy objects. Transformers Animated is a very boring game. You just go through stages, solving puzzles to get to the next stage. There's no variety or challenges to keep the game entertaining. As a result, the game is incredibly dull and repetitive.
Transformers are getting their own brand new series. Check out Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Megatron, and more in all new stories.
Optimus, look out!
All new action. Evasive maneuver. All new Transformers.
Not bad, huh?
Transformers, the animated series, starting Saturday morning at 10:30. There's more than meets the eye. And I'm just getting warmed up. Only on Cartoon Network.
The next game we will talk about is Ben 10 Alien Force Vilgax Attacks. I will be discussing the PS2 version of the game. The game is based off a Ben 10 Alien Force show on Cartoon Network that was released in 2008. In the game, you take control of Ben 10 and can transform into 10 different aliens. The game is a 3D action beat-em-up in which you can attack enemies and progress through various stages. I will tell you right now that my review on the game ends here. That is because I cannot beat this game. That's right, I got bested by a children's game. You may be asking yourself, why? That's because early on in the game, there is a minigame in which you have to line up numbers. I spent over half an hour trying to beat this minigame until I gave up. You have to be extremely precise to line up the numbers. You can't be a second late or a second early. I decided it wasn't worth it and I quit right there. Aside from that frustrating moment, the rest of the game is average. Not completely terrible, but also very mediocre.
On the next all-new Ben 10 Alien Force,
Who's your good-looking friend? Ben Tennyson?
Ben has become his own worst enemy,
Surrender if you value your life.
and his strange behavior has got Gwen and Kevin seeing double.
How will we know which one's the real you?
Can they unmask this imposter before it's too late? An all-new Ben 10 Alien Force premieres tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. only on Cartoon Network.
Secret Saturdays Beasts of the Fifth Sun is a PS2 game that is based on the Secret Saturdays show on Cartoon Network. The show is about the Saturday family and their journey to discover and document strange and exotic mythological creatures. In this video game, Zack Saturday travels to various places in the world to search for cryptids. Zack wields a staff that he uses to attack enemies and grapple and swing from ceilings. The game is shown primarily from a 2D perspective with 3D sections when Zack comes across a group of enemies. Zack is able to take control of the creatures he encounters. The creatures are able to access areas that Zack cannot and can use their powers to open paths that allow Zack to progress through the level. Much like the Transformers animated game, Secret Saturdays Beasts of the Fifth Sun is focused around puzzles that the player needs to solve to get to the end of the level. The game is better than both the Transformers animated game and Ben 10 Alien Force because it managed to keep my interest for more than an hour. The controls and level design are better. However, it is still an average run-of-the-mill video game based on a children's cartoon that offers nothing of interest to older players.
I'm ready for this.
The Secret Saturdays. A family of scientists dedicated to tracking the world's most bizarre creatures fight to stop the evil Vidiagos and his plan to rule the world. Doc, Drew, and Zack are
Come on, people, action time!
The Secret Saturdays, coming this fall, only on Cartoon Network.
Let's talk about the last game in this video, Winx Club for the PS2. Unlike the other games I've discussed so far, Winx Club was released only in Europe and did not receive a North American release. Another difference between this game and the other games is that it's a game designed for young girls. I don't take issue with this at all. As long as it can make good content from it, I could care less if a game is made specifically for girls. Winx Club for the PS2 is an adaptation of the Winx Club cartoon series. The series follows the journey of Bloom, an ordinary girl who discovers that she has the powers of a fairy. She rescues Stella, a fairy from the kingdom of Solaria. In Solaria, Bloom attends a school, Althea, an academy dedicated to teaching fairies how to use and control their magic. The Winx Club game is a faithful adaptation of the television series. Many scenes and plot points are recreated word for word in this game. Environments are lovingly constructed to look exactly as they do in the show. It shows that the developers had a level of dedication to accurately representing the show. I think it is unlikely that the developers were passionate Winx Club fans. The more likely scenario is that this was a work-for-hire job and the developers and programmers were given a set of guidelines to follow. These guidelines showed them exactly how the environments and characters were supposed to look. In this game, you play as Bloom and are able to fire energy projectiles to defeat enemies. After completing the tutorial section and defeating a yellow ogre, you are transported to Althea. Althea serves as a hub world. Here you can visit the library, the classroom, and the room that you share with your 3 other fairy friends. Although you are able to shoot projectiles, you don't use this ability very often. Much of the game is made up of fetch quests. You have to talk to a person who needs an item, you get the item, you bring it to them, and rinse and repeat. That is essentially the entire game. The game is just really, really boring. Very boring. I only played, I think, the first half hour of this game, and I stopped because it was boring, and it did not keep my interest for very long. And that is essentially the theme of this video. So all these games are just horrendously boring. Just extremely, extremely boring. And look, I get it. They're kids' games. They're licensed shovelware crap games. I get that. I still feel you should make it entertaining in some way. I mean, you look at Mario games. Mario games are extremely fun, creative, entertaining, and you can play that when you're 5, you're 15, you're 20, 25. It appeals to people of all ages because it's fun. That's the key. It's fun. And yet the games that I played in this video are not fun. Are just so boring. It was interesting to look back on these games that I played as a kid. Well, actually, I didn't play all these games as a kid. I think the only game I played back in the day was probably the Transformers game. Aside from that, I have no recollection of any of these games, and the only reason that I know them is because I watched the shows that they were based on. All of these games were just incredibly boring and repetitive, and I wasn't expecting mind-blowing experiences. I knew going in that these were just very cheaply produced on a shoestring budget. I got what I completely expected. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
all-new Ben 10 Alien Force.
I'm just trying to do what we all agreed to do. Fry every DN alien we can find.
Those are aliens?
An all-new Ben 10 Alien Force tomorrow at 10, only on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network wants to start your mornings off right with a big yellow bang. Charge into your day with a double jolt of new Pokemon episodes. Your favorite Pokemon and trainers are on a new journey, and you never know who they'll meet along the way.
Team Rocket!
Let's just hope they're nice to Pikachu. Catch an hour of all new episodes of Pokemon, Monday through Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Man, I can't wait! Yeah!
Only on Cartoon Network.